Welcome to the Health Headliner podcast by Tudu Digital. Our content is informational only and not medical advice. Please consult your provider. Now, let's dive into today's headlines.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place that takes these mountains of research and tries to make them really useful, high-impact knowledge for you. And today, we're really diving into something fundamental, maybe the ultimate human desire. How do we slow down aging? Specifically, brain aging.
Yeah, it's such a critical area because, when we talk about conditions like mild cognitive impairment, MCI, or even Alzheimer's, we're really talking about a brain that's biologically older. It's out of sync with chronological age.
It's running ahead of the clock.
Exactly, running way ahead.
So that's the challenge. And our mission today is to unpack a specific study. It's a secondary analysis from a big trial, the Direct Plus trial, ran for 18 months.
Right.
They looked at whether a particular diet, this green Mediterranean diet, could actually affect the biological signs of brain aging. Slow it down, maybe.
And to really get the results, we first need to understand this key concept they used. It's called the brain age gap.
The brain age gap. Okay, it sounds a bit sci-fi, but you're saying it's a real measurement. How on earth did they calculate that?
Well, it involves some pretty sophisticated tech. They used high-resolution MRI scans, so detailed pictures of the participants' brains.
Okay.
Then they fed these images into what's called a convolutional neural network. Think of it like a very specialized AI.
An AI tool for brain scans.
Precisely. This AI was trained, basically taught, to see tiny structural patterns in these scans and then predict, based on those patterns, what age that brain looks like biologically.
So it's spotting wear and tear, maybe stuff a human eye would just gloss over?
Exactly that. And the brain age gap, the bag, is just the difference between that AI-predicted brain age and the person's actual age, their birthday age.
Got it. So if I'm, say, 55, but the AI says my brain scan looks more like a typical 65-year-old.
Then you've got a positive gap of 10 years. That's the signal for accelerated aging. That's the worry.
And a negative gap means?
That means you're doing well.
Yeah.
Your brain looks younger than your chronological age. You're attenuating aging, slowing it down.
Wow, okay. That's a powerful number. And what's really interesting you mentioned is that even before they started the diets, just at baseline, they found connections between this brain age gap and standard health markers, right?
They absolutely did. At the very start, a smaller gap, meaning a biologically younger brain, was already linked with things like lower body weight, smaller waist size, better diastolic blood pressure, and lower hemoglobin A1C, which relates to blood sugar control.
That's huge. It really confirms that idea that you can't separate your metabolic health from your brain health. They seem intertwined.
Deeply intertwined. The things driving heart disease risk might well be the same things aging your brain faster.
Which sets the stage perfectly for this experiment then. Can diet actually intervene in these connected systems?
That was the question.
Okay, so let's get into the study design. They had 294 people, all facing some metabolic challenges like abdominal obesity or dyslipidemia.
Right, so not a perfectly healthy group to start.
And they split them into 3 groups for 18 months. What were those diets again?
Okay, so group 1 was the control. They got Healthy Dietary Guidelines, HDG, just standard basic advice, the comparison point.
Makes sense.
Group 2 was the traditional Mediterranean diet, the one most people know. Calorie restricted, lots of veggies, less simple carbs, fish and poultry instead of loads of red meat, and importantly, 28 grams of walnuts a day.
The healthy fats.
Yep. And then group 3, the real focus here, the green Mediterranean diet, or green MED.
Okay.
This took the MED diet as a base, but then really amped up the polyphenol intake.
Polyphenols. Those are the good plant compounds, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory stuff.
Exactly those. So the green MED group did 3 extra things. They drank 3 to 4 cups of green tea every day.
Okay, that's a lot of green tea.
It is. They also had 500 milliliters a day of a shake made from Mankai. Mankai is this tiny aquatic plant like duckweed, but it's packed with protein, iron, and, yes, polyphenols.
Mankai, never heard of it.
It's quite niche, but potent. And the third thing was they were told to cut back even further on processed and red meats compared to the traditional MED group. But they still kept the 28 grams of walnuts. So walnuts for fat, green tea, and Mankai for this big polyphenol hit. Okay, Now how did they measure if this actually slowed aging? Not just the MRI gap, but like on a molecular level. You mentioned proteomics.
Exactly, proteomics. Looking at the proteins floating around in the blood serum, the researchers measured a panel of 87 different proteins.
Right.
And they were hunting for which of these proteins seemed to correlate most strongly with a worse brain age gap, with that accelerated aging pattern.
And they found some specific culprits.
They zeroed in on two main ones, Galectin-9 and Decorin.
Okay, let's take Galectin-9 first.
Yeah.
Why is having more Galectin-9 floating around bad news for your brain?
Well, Galectin-9, or Gal9, plays a big role in the immune system. When levels go up, it's like it's sounding an alarm, triggering immune responses, pushing out pro-inflammatory signals, cytokines.
In the brain context, this ramps up microglial activation. Basically, it puts the brain's own immune cells on high alert into fight mode.
So high Gal9 means your brain's immune system is constantly simmering, like a low-grade inflammation.
That's a great way to put it. A slow burn of neuroinflammation. And the wider research supports this. Studies show that persistently high Galectin-9 is linked to worse cognitive performance down the line. It flags acceleration.
Got it. An overactive alarm causing chronic inflammation. What about the other one, Decorin? That sounds more structural.
It is. Decorin is part of the extracellular matrix, sort of the scaffolding between your cells. Its role in blood is complex, but here's the link. Higher levels have also been found in the cerebrospinal fluid, the fluid around the brain, in people showing early signs of amyloid beta pathology.
Amyloid beta, that's the plaque linked to Alzheimer's.
The very same. So if Galectin-9 is the inflammatory alarm, Decorin might be signaling some kind of structural stress or damage, maybe related to those disease processes starting up.
Okay, so both are bad signs. Higher levels of either mean a brain that's under more stress, aging faster.
That was the pattern they saw clearly. Higher Gal9, higher Decorin, correlated with a bigger, more worrying brain age gap.
All right, the big reveal then. Did adding the green tea and the Mankai, those polyphenol powerhouses, actually change things? Did it move the needle on these protein markers?
Yes, it absolutely did. Over the 18 months, the green MED group showed a significantly beneficial change in their overall protein profile compared to the standard diet group, the HTG control.
Okay, let's focus on Galectin-9, that inflammation marker. What happened there?
This was really striking. In the green MED group, participants had a major, statistically significant drop in their Galectin-9 levels compared to the control group.
Wow.
And what's more, the green MED diet was the only one strong enough to cause a significant drop in Galectin-9 compared to where those same participants started, their own baseline levels.
Hold on. So just changing the diet, adding these specific foods, actually turned down that inflammatory alarm bell you mentioned. That's incredible. Did they link it directly to the green tea or walnuts?
They did. When they crunched the numbers further, they found specific links. Drinking those 4 cups of green tea a day was independently associated with lower Galectin-9, and so was eating the 7 portions of walnuts a week.
So it really points to those high-polyphenol foods being the active ingredient here.
Yeah, strongly suggests it.
Yeah.
The anti-inflammatory molecules seem to be driving that effect.
It feels like non-pharmacological brain protection. What about Decorin? Did that drop too?
Decorin was a bit different. Levels actually tended to creep up slightly in all the groups over the 18 months. Maybe just reflecting natural aging. It's hard to say for sure.
Okay.
But the increase was smallest in the green MED group. And crucially, in that group, the increase wasn't statistically significant. Whereas in the standard diet and the regular MED diet groups, the increase was more noticeable.
So green MED didn't reverse it, but it seemed to slow down or attenuate the increase in that structural stress marker.
Exactly. It put the brakes on, relatively speaking.
So what's the thinking behind why this green MED combo was so effective? The mechanism.
The hypothesis really centers on the synergy of those polyphenols, especially from the green tea and Mankai. These compounds are known inflammation fighters.
Right.
By sort of flooding the system with these molecules, the idea is they dampen down that chronic microglial activation. They quiet the inflammatory alarm that Galectin-9 represents. It interrupts that neuroinflammation cycle before it does too much damage or speeds up the brain age gap.
This all sounds incredibly promising, but, for you listening, we need to put this in context. There are always limitations to studies.
Absolutely essential.
For instance, if the diet's changing molecules, why didn't they see huge jumps in memory test scores during the trial itself?
That's a key point,
Okay.
and leads to the limitations. First, generalizability. Remember, this study was overwhelmingly male, about 90%, and everyone started with existing heart health risks, the obesity or dyslipidemia. So we have to be careful saying, these exact results apply to everyone, like, say, healthy younger women.
Fair point. And the protein panel they used, it wasn't purely brain-focused, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was primarily a cardiovascular panel, the Olink CVDII panel, with 87 proteins. But the fact that Galectin-9 and Decorin popped out so strongly, and these two do have known roles in neuroinflammation and brain pathology, that gives the findings weight, even with that limitation.
Right. And maybe the biggest limitation, the time frame. 18 months.
Exactly. It was long enough to see these objective biological changes.
Right.
The slowing of the brain age gap, that's huge.
Yeah.
But it likely wasn't long enough to see those molecular changes translate into big, statistically significant differences in functional cognitive scores, like on a standard memory test. Brain repair and functional improvement just take time. More than 18 months, probably.
But the value here, as one researcher put it, is that looking at these blood proteins gives us this dynamic window into brain health. It can show biological changes way before any symptoms actually appear.
That's the real power. It connects diet directly to these early warning signs in the brain's biology.
It moves beyond just eat your veggies to eat these specific kinds of compounds for these molecular benefits.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. The main takeaway for you is that this green Mediterranean-style diet, especially boosted with things like green tea and this Mankai plant, it looks like a really potent non-drug approach. It significantly lowers Galectin-9, that key inflammation driver linked to faster brain aging, and it seems to help slow the rise of Decorin, that marker tied to structural issues.
Yeah, and connecting this to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
It leaves us with a really interesting, maybe provocative thought.
Go on.
Even though the diet helped change the protein levels over 18 months, the researchers noted that the initial baseline levels of Galectin-9 and Decorin still predicted lower cognitive performance later on. It raises this question of therapeutic latency. How long does it actually take for fixing the molecules, making those positive dietary changes, to translate into noticeable improvements in how well your brain actually functions?
So you can start the repair work today with diet, but seeing the real functional benefits, like better memory scores, might take years of sticking with it.
It really might. And that knowledge should be empowering, not discouraging. It tells you, don't wait for symptoms to show up.
Right.
Adding polyphenol-rich foods, green tea, walnuts are easy ones, maybe exploring others like Mankai if you can find it, isn't just vague health advice. It looks like targeted biological maintenance for your brain, starting right now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Health Headliner podcast by To-Do Digital. Like and subscribe for more health news and breakthroughs. Stay healthy and informed. See you next time.